Imagine this. Governments across the globe proudly announce bold green initiatives, banning gas cars, promoting plant-based diets, and pushing electric vehicles, EVs, as the future. Social media and news outlets celebrate these efforts as groundbreaking steps towards sustainability. But beneath the surface, these top-down policies often miss their mark. The gap between what sounds good in theory and what works in practice creates unintended consequences, undermining the very goals they're meant to achieve. Let's take a closer look at why these policies fall short and what realistic, effective solutions might look like. Electric vehicles are heralded as the ultimate solution to carbon emissions, but the reality of their production tells a different story. EV batteries rely on rare materials like lithium, cobalt, and nickel, which are extracted through environmentally damaging mining practices. These operations often occur in countries with lax environmental regulations, leading to deforestation, water pollution, and significant biodiversity loss. For all the hype about EVs being green, the carbon footprint of their production is substantial even before the vehicles hit the road. Compounding this issue is the strain on global supply chains. The soaring demand for these rare minerals has caused shortages and price hikes, making it clear that scaling EV production without addressing resource sustainability is problematic. While politicians push EV mandates, the sustainability of battery supply chains remains unaddressed. Another critical obstacle to widespread EV adoption is the lack of charging infrastructure. While urban areas might enjoy access to home charging, rural and suburban communities are often left behind. Charging an EV isn't as simple as filling a gas tank. It can take hours, and public chargers are sparse in many regions.
Without significant investment in charging networks, the push for EVs becomes an exercise in virtue signaling, failing to provide a practical solution for everyday consumers.
Meanwhile, high upfront costs, battery degradation, and the limited appeal of second-hand EVs further deter buyers.
These barriers illustrate the disconnect between ambitious policies and real consumer needs. Fake meat is another so-called green solution that fails to live up to its promises.
Promoted as an ethical alternative to traditional meat, plant-based products like soy or pea-based patties come with their own set of environmental issues. Monocropping, the farming method used to produce many of these ingredients, depletes soil nutrients, reduces biodiversity, and increases dependence on pesticides. While fake meat might reduce livestock emissions, it creates new challenges for sustainable agriculture. Furthermore, fake meat products are highly processed, requiring additives, flavorings, and chemicals to replicate the taste and texture of real meat. Far from being a healthy alternative, these products often raise questions about their nutritional value. Despite aggressive marketing, many consumers remain unconvinced, citing higher costs, artificial ingredients, and a lack of flavor compared to natural, grass-fed meats. The push for fake meat reflects a broader problem with top-down policies that prioritize optics over effectiveness. Politicians and corporations back these initiatives to meet production quotas or appeal to environmental trends, often ignoring consumer preferences. While fake meat and EVs dominate headlines, more sustainable and practical solutions are overlooked. Regenerative agriculture, for instance, offers a way to improve soil health, sequester carbon, and restore biodiversity. This approach uses natural processes to balance ecosystems, eliminating the need for harmful monocropping practices and providing healthier food options. Supporting small farms and local food systems is a far more impactful strategy than relying on industrialized plant-based alternatives. In the context of EVs, sustainability could be improved by investing in battery recycling and cleaner mining practices. Recycling old EV batteries would reduce environmental waste, while sustainable mining methods could minimize the ecological impact of resource extraction. Governments must also focus on building resilient, localized supply chains to reduce dependence on fragile global networks. Encouraging local production and sustainable practices benefits both the environment and local economies, creating jobs and reducing emissions from transportation. The failure of top-down policies lies in their rigid, one-size-fits-all approach. Mandates to produce more EVs or plant-based meat ignore the practical realities of consumer behavior and infrastructure limitations. Real change requires listening to consumers and addressing their concerns. Affordable, accessible solutions like hybrid vehicles or sustainable farming practices are far more appealing than expensive, impractical technologies. Policymakers should focus on creating incentives that align with consumer behavior, such as subsidies for local food systems or investments in EV charging networks. Long-term sustainability also depends on adaptive policies that evolve with new technology and market conditions.
Instead of chasing production targets, governments should prioritize investments in renewable energy, recycling, and agricultural innovation. Building a reliable renewable energy grid, funding research into battery recycling, and supporting regenerative farming are crucial steps toward a greener future. These approaches address the root causes of environmental challenges rather than offering superficial fixes. The rush to promote EVs and fake meat as environmental saviors often obscures their hidden costs and practical limitations. From mining's ecological damage to the processing of fake meat, these initiatives create new problems while failing to deliver on their promises. Instead of focusing on optics, it's time to invest in solutions that work for both people and the planet. Supporting regenerative agriculture, improving battery recycling, and building resilient local economies offer genuine paths to sustainability. By closing the gap between policy and reality, we can create a greener future that meets real-world needs without leaving anyone behind.